Hi, my name is Jessica Troilo, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Counseling and Learning Sciences at WVU. And I want to share with you some tips and strategies for helping create a space for your child or children as they navigate virtual learning. The first tip is to um, identify a place in your home where your child or children can learn consistently on an everyday basis. This might be the kitchen table. If it is, what you might want to do is clear away anything that's not related to school. So salt and pepper shakers, placemats, silverware, that kind of stuff can all be removed for the time where your child or children are engaging in school or educational activities. This really signals to them that this is a place for learning, and this is like their school desk for the day. And so that can be really helpful. Another thing that we might not think of is making sure that, especially for smaller or younger children, having chairs that are appropriate for them. We can makeshift something that works with pillows and that sort of thing so that they're up high enough that they can see their computer screen if they're working on a Chromebook, that they're comfortable and that's not a distraction, because being uncomfortable, at least for my daughter, is quite distracting for her as she tries to learn. The second thing is making a schedule and sticking to it. One of the benefits of school is that there's a fairly strict schedule every day. Students know when the school day starts, they know when it ends, they know when lunchtime is, when they need to change classes, that sort of thing. We need to mimic that as much as we can when we're at home for virtual education. And so starting the day at the same time every day is really helpful for students. Knowing when the end point of the day is of the school day. Being at home, time kind of becomes fluid. And so really having boundaries on when learning will happen and sticking to those on a day in and day out basis. That's really helpful, especially for younger kids. But it's good for anyone. It's good for all of us to have a schedule that we know what is expected of us and when. Along these lines, using a calendar is really helpful for students as well. They can look at their calendar and see what the schedule is, when certain activities are being requested of them. If there's multiple children in the household, you can use different colors to represent everyone's different schedules, or if you have one schedule per child, you can use color coding for different subjects. So every time a child might look at their schedule and say, oh, I have something in blue at this time, that means reading, so I need to get my reading book out, or I need to pull up my reading assignments on Google Classroom. That can be really helpful for kids and for you as well, to know what is being expected of the kids at different days and times. Reducing distractions is also really important. What's tricky is that if you have multiple students or multiple kids in your household, they could be distracted by different things. Things that aren't a part of normal school days, like dogs. We have 2 dogs at home. They're often barking at neighbors or outside noises. And so if you have your space set up with your kitchen table and you have the calendar visible and everyone knows what's supposed to be going on, and then the dog's barking at neighbors, that can be really disruptive for some students in their learning. And so figuring out ways to minimize that, whether the dog goes out in the backyard or the TVs are off, video games are played at later times, but managing those distractions so that, just as in the school classroom, the schooling is kind of the primary task, that gets mimicked at home, where schooling becomes the primary task and the other distractions kind of are minimized as much as they can be. Finally, building in time for movement, for exercise, for taking breaks is really helpful. And so it could be a break in between. If we do reading in the morning and then we follow up with math, maybe having some kind of break in between where the child can get up and move around. Building in recess. Recess is really helpful for kids in elementary school to get out and play and kind of give their mind a break. It's good for kids of all ages to engage in that. And so building in time for physical activity as well is also really important. And again, that is can go on the schedule. It can be color coded or however it's organized, but it's at the same time every day so that the child knows that this is when I get to go outside and release some energy. So all those tips are really helpful. It's a new thing that we're experiencing this year, and I wish you all the best. There are additional videos on this webpage for you to look through for different technologies, tips and strategies, but I hope you have a great year.